For decades, Apple has been famous for its meticulous control, its fiscal discipline. But in the incredibly high-speed, high-stakes world of artificial intelligence, well, that careful strategy is facing its biggest test ever. And look, it's the question on everyone's mind, right? It's been shadowing Apple for months. While its rivals are just sprinting ahead, Apple has seemed to be lagging. But that perception might be about to change, and I mean dramatically. On a recent earnings call, Apple's leadership sent a crystal clear message. The old rulebook is being thrown out. And let me be clear, this isn't some minor tweak. We're talking about a fundamental shift in how Apple plans to operate and compete from now on. Okay, so to really get why this is such a massive deal, we first need to look at the old Apple. For years, its whole strategy was defined by this cautious, almost frugal approach to how it grew and how it innovated. And get this, these are the biggest deals Apple has ever done. $3 billion for Beats? I mean, that sounds like a lot, right? But in the world of big tech mergers and acquisitions, these are actually pretty modest. They were all about buying some specific tech or a really talented team, not buying whole empires. So this was basically their game plan. Build it yourself if you can. If you can't, buy a small, super smart team that can build it for you. And for all that expensive stuff, like data centers, just lean on other companies to keep your own costs down. And look, this playbook worked beautifully for them. Until it didn't. Then, along came the AI revolution. And it just completely changed the game. All of a sudden, Apple's slow and steady approach started to look like a huge liability in a race that's all about speed and, frankly, massive investment. So while Apple was kind of working quietly behind the scenes, competitors like Microsoft and Google were out there shipping actual products. They've launched AI chatbots and assistants that are already in the hands of hundreds of millions of people. That gives them a huge lead in user data and engagement. And right here, this is really the heart of the problem. To power modern AI, you need a mind-boggling investment in data centers, and the spending gap is just staggering. While Apple's planning to spend a few billion a year, look at Google, $85 billion, and Microsoft, over $100 billion. I mean, we're not even in the same ballpark here. So what's the real-world impact of this? Well, it's starting to become pretty clear. We're seeing it in some rocky progress on their own AI development, and probably most noticeable for all of us, a delay in the big overhaul we've all been waiting for Siri. Now, you might think this is just about keeping up with the competition, right? But it's actually much deeper than that. Apple is facing what you could call a perfect storm of business threats that makes their old way of doing things pretty much impossible to stick with. Okay, first up, money. A huge financial risk. You see, Google pays Apple tens of billions of dollars every year just to be the default search engine on the iPhone. But there's a huge antitrust trial going on that could kill that deal. If it does, poof, that's a massive hole in Apple's revenue. And at the exact same time, the whole idea of what search even is changing. You know how Google gives you a list of blue links to click on? Well, these new AI search engines, they don't do that. They just give you the answer directly. That threatens Google, which in turn threatens Apple's sweet deal. So you can bet Apple sees the writing on the wall. To protect itself, the word on the street is they're looking at building their own AI features directly into Safari. This would be a huge defensive move, but it's one that requires a really powerful AI engine that right now they just don't have at scale. So you've got all this pressure mounting from every single direction. And then, finally, it happened. On that call with analysts, Apple's leadership officially and very publicly signaled that the era of being cautious was over. It's the billion-dollar question, right? Or maybe, given the numbers we're talking about, the $100 billion question. What does this new, more aggressive Apple actually look like? Well, the answer came straight from the top. And this is the quote that sent shockwaves through the tech world. For the very first time, CEO Tim Cook came right out and said that Apple is open to making large acquisitions. That key phrase, accelerate our roadmap, that's basically code for we know we're behind and we're ready to open the wallet to catch up. And you know what? The money is definitely going to follow. The company's CFO confirmed that their spending on data centers is going to grow substantially. Now, they didn't give us a hard number, but the message is clear. The checkbook is officially open to make their AI dreams a reality. So what does all this mean? Well, it really feels like we're watching the start of a whole new chapter for one of the biggest companies on the planet. And the implications, they're just enormous, both for Apple and for all of us who use their products. So let's break it down. Here's the new Apple playbook, plain and simple. Spend big on the nuts and bolts, the infrastructure. Don't be afraid of a massive acquisition if it helps you catch up. And pour all those new resources into accelerating the AI plan, which could completely change products we use every day, like Safari. So, if there's one thing to take away from all this, it's this. Apple, the company that built its empire on discipline and caution, is now admitting that in the age of AI, being careful has become a liability. It's trading its signature philosophy for aggressive spending just to get back in the game. And that leaves us with one last huge question. Apple is now officially all in on AI. It's jumping into this high-stakes race late, against giants who are already way down the track. They've got the cash, sure, but is it too late? Can Apple really just spend its way to the top of the AI world?